It seems as if like some of these old traditional like kind of holidays that we've had that we used to like really celebrate, people right now are like, I don't know. And when I say right now, I don't necessarily mean this week. I've been talking about how Halloween has felt a little ho-hum as far as like trick-or-treaters go for a little while. And this 4th of July had a little bit of a similar feel. One of my neighbors had a big cookout, it felt like, about 5-6 houses down. I haven't been able to meet them yet, but there were a bunch of cars up and down the street. Okay. And there were people setting off some fireworks all weekend long in my neighborhood. And actually, there was part of me on Saturday where I was like, good. Like, it was almost annoying that I wasn't annoyed about the fact that somebody wasn't annoying me while making loud noises 3 houses down. So when I heard a little bit of it, I was like, oh, good. Like, there is still some of this alive and well here. We don't necessarily got to go down the path of people in America now or any, thing like that. It just seems like some of these old standards, I think it's a lot about really tech and not necessarily how people feel about the country. I think those things are maybe mixed together in that. But a little bit, I think it's about the fact that it's like, I'll be inside. Right? Just stay inside, God, look at this phone screen, see if anything interesting happens on this, right? It's just kind of where we are right now as a culture, which, by the way, there's a theory out there that streaming has actually made us safer as a society. Now, it is the Netflix CEO who said it, right? So it's like, well, the mechanic always thinks the car's broke, right? It's kind of one of those things. But the CEO of Netflix is making the point that you and I, the world, is safe because of streaming. It's not necessarily just because people aren't roaming the streets anymore and things like that. It's not necessarily that. I thought that's the point he was going to make, but it isn't. We'll get to what his comments were. He's making a little bit of sense here, and I think he's right. There's a similar thing that happens with traveling that he's kind of talking about. So we'll get to how streaming is maybe making us safer. And when I saw that, I was like, you know what? I should probably get in. I can get a little guilty of demonizing the tech and the phones and the streaming and everything's in one place. And oh my God, you don't have to work for anything anymore. It's all automatic. It's right there. Oh my God, everything's locked, right? And I can just get a little carried away with some of that occasionally. So when I saw that, I was like, it's an interesting way to look at streaming. So we'll take a look at that. We'll do that coming up at 8 o'clock. It's Monday. So we'll talk to Scott from waitingfornextyear.com. That at 8 as well. Scott, this is, we got a lot to go on here as Donovan Mitchell has signed an extension now with the Cavs. It kind of felt like this is where this has been heading for a while. Want to get his point, his point and his opinion on that. Want to talk a little Amari Cooper with him. And I kind of want to talk about the fact that the Guardians are acquiring players, but like out of the bargain bin. You got, I think, is it 5 guys headed to the All-Star game? I'm pretty sure we saw yesterday with the Guardians. I mean, 5 guys going to the All-Star game. You have a squad here. You have a team here. Feels like most baseball people are like, can we get maybe 1 or 2 more arms? Maybe see if we can get some pitching for down the stretch here. They're acquiring some people. They're making some signings. But it's like, what? This? Who's this? Who's this? So we'll talk to Scott about that. We'll do that coming up 8 o'clock this very morning. 7 a.m. in town on the 12th at the Goodyear Theater is comedian Brad Williams. For anybody that does not know, Brad he referred to himself as a dwarf multiple times in that interview, so I'm going to go with, the expert there. So we talked to Brad Williams, or we will at 7 a.m. this morning, about his show coming up at the Goodyear Theater, that in Akron on the 12th. And we'll get into that. He's also going to be in the new Spinal Tap reboot. I want to talk to him about that. I'm very interested to see if he is able to give us any information on that, growing up as a huge fan of the original Spinal Tap movie. We'll talk to Brad Williams, 7 a.m. this morning. I am being a little guilty here of doing what programming bosses hate, which is burying the lead. Don't bury the lead! And the lead for you, I would imagine, is this. That at 9 a.m. this morning, back on Rock 106.9, are the Rock the Bank $1,000 keywords. Your first opportunity at $1,000 happens with me. That today at 9, every weekday at 9, I pass out that first keyword. Holiday weekends can be expensive, and we will get you some of that money back at 9 a.m. this morning, passing out that first Rock the Bank $1,000 keyword. Is this not going to play for me? Is that not going? There it is.
Here's what's next on the Stansberry Show.
Botch that one a little bit. So over the weekend, it's the 4th of July, so we know we got the Joey Chestnut hot dog eating madness. He was thrown out of the Nathan's competition, kind of had his own deal going on, and still setting some records. We'll get to that here next on the Stansberry Show. The microphone talkback button at your disposal. Easy way for you to weigh in on the program. Also, there's the text line, too, at 330-450-7625. Over the weekend, the 4th of July holiday, so we know one thing that happens every year with that is the Nathan Hot Dogs Hot Dog Eating Championship. And have I, as I have, is what I'm trying to say there, been in some food competitions back in the day. Won a few, like, wing eating competitions and stuff like that back in the day. I always find this to be a little silly, if I'm honest. I've never really understood the Nathan's hot dog thing. Now, I'm not one of these people that's like, there are starving kids and you're wasting, like, I'm not one of those. I mean, that's all true. Those arguments are well, based in some reality there, but I'm not one, that's not my thing. I just find it silly, right? But, I mean, look at what I do for a living. Really, should I be staring down my nose at silly? For crying out loud, I spent a week and a half talking about a girl who spits on penises. So, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, we got silly pretty well covered, right? So, I don't know. Maybe I'm too harsh on this. I'm looking at Nathan's, their website here. I didn't know this was gendered. I didn't know they did that. You'll have to forgive me here as I'm not up on my hot dog info. But Mickey Sudo apparently took home the female mustard belt, they call it, which of course, right? I mean, if you're going to do it, then do it, right? Like, if you're going to do it, go over the top. Let's give these idiots belts. Let's do this. You got it. I mean, yes. Mickey Sudo had held the women's world record of 51 Nathan's Famous hot dogs in 10 minutes. She won her 10th title on July 4th this last weekend, with 51 hot dogs and buns eaten. I kind of feel like she gets to 51 and was like, no mas, you get no more from me, right? She's won this apparently a couple of times, like 2023, 2022, 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017. Jeez, Mick, you might want to find something else to do. Michelle Lesko won in 2021, so apparently Mickey had an off year. I wonder if she was sick or didn't show up or something. She just kicked ass, right? Absolutely kicked ass. So on the male side, your mustard belt winner is Patrick Bertoletti. Apparently, he ate 58 hot dogs. He ate 58 hot dogs and buns, that in 10 minutes. Now, the name I haven't mentioned yet is who? Joey Chestnut. Because, like, he's the guy, right? Or has been the guy for a long time. As a matter of fact, he won the Nathan's Hot Dog Championship last year, in 2022, in 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016. You got to go back to 2015 for a year that he had not won it. Matthew Stoney won it in 2015, eating 62 hot dogs. Joey Chestnut, I'm seeing 76 of them in 2021. He actually had a slump year in 2022, only pulling down. No, that's 63 of them there. Jesus. So we haven't talked about him, and it's because he was not part of this. We talked about this a little bit before the holiday. It was a couple of weeks out. We started to hear that he wasn't going to be part of the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Championship. Apparently, there was some endorsement deal with I think it was a plant-based hot dog company. And Nathan's was like, yeah, we don't know about that. We kind of put this on. You're now teamed up with one of our competitors. We don't know if we love that. It's kind of our thing. Yeah, you know what? Why don't you sit this one out, right? Which, of course, you're denying the country the greatness that is Joey Chestnut, right? I've seen plenty of those types of arguments. And, you know, other people are like, it's a little, like, crazier just because he's teamed up with them. And you could make the argument on Nathan's side of, like, well, dude, come on. They are in the hot dog business. You think they want their star out there hawking the vegan dog? Nobody wants a vegan dog. Why do you think they call Joey Chestnut? Because they can't get anybody to eat those goddamn things. Like, dude, so like, all right, scrape the barrel, pull this idiot out here, have him tell them he'll eat these. Yeah, of course he'll do it. The guy eats things fast. He doesn't even taste them. Of course he's out there telling you to go eat the vegan dog. But Joey Chestnut not part of this year's event. Now, however, apparently he kind of held his own thing. And he, I mean, just absolutely trounced the competition here. As Joey ate 57 hot dogs. This, though, in just the 5 minutes. See, because the Nathan's winner ate 58 of them, but it took him 10 minutes. So Joey's done this now in half the time, which is where I'm always at a loss over this event or these types of events. Any type of like, hey, if you eat all of this, your picture goes on the wall. Here's a t-shirt you're going to masturbate into or whatever. Any one of those type of things, like, it's the time limit where I'm always like, but why? Like, why do I have to be fast at it? Like, that's what I don't understand. As a fast eater, I once upon a time told you a story where two women were sitting behind me in a restaurant. One of them said, did you see that? And the other one said, no, but I heard it. I was like, Jesus, that made me feel bad, right? As a fast eater, and I am. I eat like I've been in prison, though. Like, I don't know what it is. I eat really fast like that. I talk fast, I think fast, I move, like I'm into quick, right? It's just kind of how I operate. But I've never understood, like, once we're taking the hot dogs and dipping the bun in water so it can, like, slide down the throat like I'm Linda Lovelace, I'm out. By the way, I don't care if you can eat 58 hot dogs like that. For me, and this would be way less appealing for most people, which is why they don't do it this way. But I want to see, you know how the hot dog championship needs to happen? In the 7th inning stretch. I want to watch some dude who literally went to the ballpark because he thinks he can break the team on Dollar Dog Night, and like with the relish and the mustard and everything on it. And like, dude, first of all, we're bringing in new categories. How many bites was it? Right? Is that a 3-bite dog? I feel like that's a 3-bite dog, right? You get that? And I want to see how many of you could eat the way a human being would eat a hot dog. I'm not interested in watching a human being turn into a vacuum cleaner at all. Rock the bank at 9 a.m. and grab that first $1,000 keyword of the day. Also, we're looking to play a little golf with you. The Stansbury Cup on the 24th, that at Raintree. Your sign-up sheet is online now at WRQK.com. You can grab it at the Facebook page as well. The Stansbury Show. I have been a long-time supporter of I guess what we would have to call a classic rock. I'm a big fan. Now, a lot of guys are like, oh, like that chick stuff. I kind of like the chick stuff. I'm into it. I like Journey. I'm in. What am I supposed to hate? The 36 hits? Is that what it is? I don't know what I'm supposed to hate. I love Journey. Not maybe as much as a Westlake woman. Apparently, a 75-year-old woman from Westlake has been scammed out of some money because she was a Journey fan. The authorities now telling everybody the story, so they're like, hey, don't just laugh at this idiot. This could happen to you too, right? That's kind of why they put it out. As a woman was scammed out of $122,000 by someone claiming to be legendary former Journey singer Steve Perry, which might be a little smart if you're looking to scam people, right? Because it's like, if you're still in Journey, it's like, well, wait, right? But if you've been excommunicated from Journey and you're not touring all the time, and Steve's been known to kind of be a little bit of like, a little Howard Hughes, I'm gonna sit in my big house and like never look at the world, right? Like he's been a little bit like that, right? Then maybe you could think, all right, fall from grace, on hard times, you know, what have you. But apparently what happened is the woman actually went to the police station. She's 75 years old. She told that she had responded to a message on Facebook in January from someone claiming to be Steve Perry. Quote, the fake Mr. Perry had a business opportunity for investment and of course needed a woman in his life. That, according to Westlake. So first, what we can say here, estimate what loneliness can make somebody do. We're all just going to go dumb, right? And maybe that is what we're dealing with here. I think sometimes loneliness can override logic in your brain. You don't believe me? Guys, I think I can sell you on another way. The erection overrides logic all the time, don't it? Every last time, don't it? It's like all of a sudden them jeans get tight. You're like, she's making a lot of sense, man. And next thing you know, you're doing stuff you shouldn't have been doing. Exactly. So if that can override logic, then loneliness, especially the older you get, would be able to do that as well. I think that's maybe what you're dealing with. But apparently this went on multiple months. She sent thousands of dollars. Apparently they kept this up through text messaging and WhatsApp is, I believe, that's another Facebook, or Meta is their parent company, right? That's another Meta product, if memory serves correct. I don't use WhatsApp any longer. I used it once upon a time. I don't not use it over like I hate Meta, or they're secretly in the Dem camp, or this, and like it's none of that. It's just I found myself looking around like, what the hell am I don't really need this, right? Like it was kind of one of those situations. I want to ask the question, what the hell does a 75-year-old need with WhatsApp? But then I start thinking about my mother. And what my mother probably, and I bet she hasn't, I bet what my mother has WhatsApp for is to communicate with her college-aged granddaughter, who I'm assuming uses texting apps like that versus like just texting on the phone. So apparently there's benefits and encrypted and like this and that, and I don't know the inner workings of WhatsApp. But I know that's what people tell me the benefits of using that program is. Hey, I want to cheat on my wife and I don't want to get caught. So I'm going to use this, right? It's kind of one of those things. So a closer look at this, the Westlake Police Department reports on the case that it revealed that the woman apparently gave this dude $72,000 via wire transfer. And then designated as Perry in her bank account as a payee. She apparently also bought $50,000 worth of gift cards after being asked to buy it. That's okay. Again, that's a red flag right there. Red flag number one is you've been in love with this celebrity your entire life. All of a sudden now he's messaging you and they just need your money. Red flag number one, right? Messages. Red flag number one, right? And then you get there, then you get to the famous person, then there's that. Them needing money. Red flag number three, I would think, right? I'm even losing count in this. Once we get to the, you buy the gift cards and we'll let your grandson go, you know you're being screwed with, right? Like you kind of know at that point, what does Steve Perry need with a gift card? Imagine, like even today, Steve Perry, most young people have no idea what that guy even looks like. They may even like the songs. They have no idea what he looks like. I'm willing to bet Steve Perry, most places he goes, still gets things a lot of times comped. For sure. As a guy who's had plenty of things in his life comped over doing this for a living, for crying out loud, imagine if I wrote faithfully. I imagine what would happen. Exactly. Panties just being thrown at you, you never pay for meal, right? Like that's exactly what happens when that goes down, right? Apparently she realized that she was being defrauded when he became even more demanding, including wanting pictures of her passports and driver's licenses. Well, yeah, because like once you get to the point of her sending you all that money, buying the gift cards, you're like, you think we have a fish on the hook here. Let's see how far we can get this to go. Apparently they're following up on some other electronic leads, and they're saying hopefully this story will make people aware that these things kind of go down. First, it reminds me of a situation. My dad's mother lived alone for the bulk of her like adult life. Her husband died kind of early, and then she was dating this guy, but they never really cohabitated or whatever. And my dad was like, we live in Aurora, you live in Maple Heights, we are asking you to come and live in the house, but you would rather play martyr in your house and not do it, right? And like all of that. And I was over there one, because I used to like to go over there and play cards with her. And there was a knock on the door, and a guy was pretending to be from the gas company. And I was like, oh my God, man, this stuff you hear on the news, it happens. This stuff, it actually does go down, right? And so luckily I was there for that. And this story does make me think about my mom. And it makes me so happy she's lived with my brother for as long as she has. My dad died like 20 some years ago. She moved out to Vegas right after that happened. And so she's lived with David since then. And there's zero chance, I'm telling you right now, my mother was I'm never going out with another man. I married my husband. That was the relationship I had. I'm good now. I don't need that in my life. My mother is a lonely woman. She can lie about it all she wants. She's a lonely woman, right? And if she wasn't living with a family member, I'm telling you, stuff like that I think could happen. And it's not that my mom is stupid. I mean, she's not necessarily a Mensa candidate, but she's not stupid, right? And so at the end of the day, I think if she was just living out there in Las Vegas, didn't have anything going on in her life, and I don't know, whoever the hell she was a fan of was like, hey, give me some money, I think my mom, just for the communication alone, would be like, all right, here's all my money. Welcome back to the Stansbury Show on Rock 106.9 this Friday at the Goodyear Theater. Comedian Brad Williams is joining the program now. It's so good to talk to you, man. I'm excited about this, as I've been a fan of your comedy for a little while here. And according to the
shut your face. Thank you.
And according to the New York Times, man, nobody currently is doing comedy better than you. That had to be a big compliment.
Hey, there are some times when the New York Times prints something and I'm like, this news organization is going out of control. And then sometimes they say that and I'm like, I can trust them a little
Nailed it. Yeah, exactly. I'm excited to see you in town, man. You'll be at the Goodyear Theater in Akron, that on July 12th, and people can get some tickets at bradwilliamscomedy.com. And I don't know if you've ever been to that venue as of yet. I've been there multiple times, Brad. It's still a decent size, and yet it holds its intimacy. So it will feel like you're doing an intimate show for a larger audience. I think you're going to like that venue a lot. I'm a big fan.
Well, thank you. And an intimate venue is good for someone like me who's only 4'4", because I want everyone to feel like they're really close to me.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't exactly, I don't, like, this is why you got to get tickets early, because if you're in the very back row of the balcony section, you're really far away from the very tiny man.
Yeah, see, you brought up your height, and I wasn't sure how to get into this with you, right? Because I know...
Well, I mean, we kind of have to. I'm on the radio. You can't see me. I don't sound like a dwarf. I'm not calling you up like, like, that's not how I'm calling you. So yeah.
I was curious about it because I know radio hosts better than I know comedians. So I'm willing to bet throughout your career, you've had a radio host like, little man, big comedy, Brad Williams, right? And like go like full blown radio douche on you. And I just didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do it
little
to you.
Man, little man, big comedy would be a blessing for some of the radio. A lot of the times, it's like, and now I'm going to do my fake radio voice where it's like, all right, everybody, okay, it's Goodyear Theater. We're coming down to Rock, Cleveland. It's Brad Williams. Now, for those of you who don't know, Brad Williams is a midget. That's right, we got a midget on the phone. Get a lottery ticket. You're getting 3 wishes. Cowbell, 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 cowbell. And it just goes on from there.
Sound effect, yeah, we are sound effects. The radio guys, we like our sound effects, and God knows I love mine. Talking to Brad Williams, who'll be in town at the Goodyear Theater, that in Akron, July 12th, bradwilliamscomedy.com for your tickets. Now, if I'm reading my notes here correctly, man, you, Brad Williams, are a part of the new Spinal Tap movie. Are you allowed to talk to me about that? Can you give me some behind the scenes stuff? What are we getting? I'm on the edge of my seat waiting on that. That had to be a huge honor to be a part of that, right?
My God. Yes. It's one of the cooler things I've ever done. The few scenes I was in were amazing. I'm not allowed to say what I'm doing, but let's just say that if you're a fan of the original Spinal Tap, it's not hard to figure out where I lie. Okay.
Okay. I think I got it.
Yeah. But that scene that I shot, very fun. I got to do it with a wee man from Jackass, which I was thrilled about. A, because we're friends, and then B, because now people will finally realize that he and I are not the same person.
Yeah, when I told some people in the building I was going to have you on the program, people said, don't call him Wee Man, dude. It's like, no, man, I understand there is more than one person on the planet. I will admit, though, when I do hear your name or see you, I can't lie, dude. I start thinking about Tyrion Lannister just a little, like I do. That does kind of happen, but I think that speaks to Game of Thrones more than anything else, as we're talking to Brad Williams, comedian, and again, he'll be at the Goodyear Theater, that on July 12th. You just recently became a dad, too, did you not?
Yeah, I did the thing. I got some woman to marry me,
yes.
And then to let me reproduce. That when people say like, Brad, you're a comedian, are you funny? I just point at my beautiful wife and I go, look, there's the evidence right there.
Must be.
there'd be no way it's great. My daughter is also a little person, so now the dwarves are running the house, which is fantastic. I'm saving so much money on food. Her being a little person, we don't eat a lot. Her clothes will last her until she's 11. It's great. I love it. It's fantastic. Here's the only part about being a dad that I'm not too much of a fan of. It has nothing to do with my daughter. She's a delight. It's when I do the school drop off and I gotta interact with other parents. I'm not a fan. I doubt any of the parents are listening to this radio station. So it's just like, I'm not a fan. There's one guy who's just way too positive, way too early in the morning. He's like dropping the kid off. He's like, yes, you're going to school. Yes, you're going to learn. You're going to have fun. Yes. And I'm just sitting there like, it is 7:30, bro. Like, I don't know. Yeah, tone it down. I don't know how much Doze candy, booger sugar he's got to do to get that excited for Play-Doh. But man, he is stoked. So that's the only part that kind of bugs me, is interacting with the other parents. I mean, I'm very blessed. I'm a comedian, so my best friends are some of the funniest people in the world. Yeah. So then when I got to do a PTA fundraiser, and some guy's talking to me about his import, export, whatever, but I'm done. I can't. I tune out. It's bad.
Talking to Brad Williams, the comedian. He'll be in town again July 12th, Goodyear Theater in Akron. Find him on Instagram at Brad Williams Comic. He's also on Twitter, or what I suppose X now, at Funny Brad. And, you keep bringing up the little person thing, as that is part of your, I don't want to call it a shtick, but it is part of your, content, is what we can call it.
Yeah.
I would imagine that there were things that were difficult while growing up, right? I would imagine that there were difficulties. Do you think that's going to be a benefit and a little easier for your daughter, as she will be able to come home and have somebody to kind of rely on with that, who's been kind of through all of that stuff before her?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. Because whenever something happens, I've already gone through that. So she's gonna come home and be like, "Daddy, I have a problem." I'll be like, "Don't worry, I've got this. Up, up, down, down, left, right, A, B, select, start." And I've got the cheat codes to handle it. Like, I'm already here's one thing that I'm really loving doing, is I know the insults that kids are gonna tease her with. So I'm literally already writing comebacks, and we're practicing. She's 4. I don't care. We're running comebacks, and I'm gonna make a kid cry. It's gonna be devastating. It's gonna be lovely. I'm sticking by the phone. When the phone rings and it's the principal of the elementary school, that's gonna be a happy day for me.
I would imagine, and I guess you could tell me if this is true or not, that's sort of how you started to sharpen your comedic mind, right? Was probably people, a little teasing and a little this, and you used, I'm gonna guess here, a little sense of humor to, deflect and kind of diffuse situations and win over some friends, how to influence and, make friends and all of that kind of stuff. I'm willing to bet that is how you started to become a little bit funnier, right?
Do I owe you money? Is this a therapy session? Is this
just free tickets to the show would be fine. That'd be fine.
Yeah, I feel you just broke down my childhood, and now I have to tell you why I have daddy issues. But okay, yes, that is pretty much exactly right. My dad did what I'm doing with my daughter now, and my dad's not a dwarf. We don't all come from the same tribe. But he would sit down and write those comebacks with me.
Oh, that's great.
In school, and a kid would be like, you're little, and I would respond with, your mom doesn't live with your dad anymore.
Oh, my
God. Oh, no. I go for the jugular, okay? When I shoot to kill, okay? It's not going to be just I'm going to insult your outfit. No, I'm going to make you second guess every decision you've ever made.
Yeah, when you're taking that many shots across your bow, I would imagine that, when you fire back, it's going to be a kill shot, if at all possible.
Yeah, buddy.
As I'm talking to you, every time I talk to a comedian now, I ask this very standard question. How do you feel about canceling, and why do you feel about people who say you can't say anything anymore? And it's like, well, I don't know, I mean, like, the whole world's gone conversation crazy. Podcasts have exploded. I feel like comedy's having a little bit of a resurgence moment in the sun here a little bit. Where do you come down on the you can't joke about stuff anymore?
Listen, man, I'm going to name you some comedians that have been canceled, okay?
Okay.
Louis C.K.
Selling out venues now.
Gillis.
Yep.
Shane Gillis, Dave Chappelle, Joe Rogan. These are all comedians that can play a stadium. So if that's what it means to be canceled,
then cancel Brad Williams.
Cancel me. Yeah, freaking I'm going to start saying things. Because if that's what it means to be canceled, listen, all that's happening right now is that comedy is more readily available and you can watch it. And for some people, jokes and stuff would come in their feed. Normally, the only way you'd hear about a comedian is if you would go to the show,
word of mouth, yeah.
Joke and be like, I don't really like that joke. But now, according to whatever algorithm, you might see clips, you might see special clips, and you'll watch. So it's just more people are being exposed to it, which is good, because the other side of that is more people are liking it, because the aforementioned canceled comedians are now playing those stadiums. And now I was in clubs 2 years ago. I was down there playing in Cleveland, and now I'm at the Goodyear Theater. So it's like, yes, comedy is growing. More people are hating it. More people are saying they don't like it. More people are saying you can't say that. But there's a lot more people that are really enjoying it. And one thing that comedy is so cool for being is it is that sort of last bastion of free speech. And I think that's what is truly driving this comedy boom, is that there's so many places now where you have